Hello, homies. Prenogo here, bringing you a preview of the HitEmUp versus Aoud 64 tournament match that will be taking place, with luck, on Thursday. This Thursday, the 19th of December. It is Monday as I record this, and I hope you guys are having a happy Monday. We have the tyrant himself, the random player, HitEmUp, and he will be up against Aoud 64 in this two-game series. We'll cast one in this video and one in another. Let's get into it. Now, for Genesis Y, HitEmUp spawns in the top right, as I'm going to call this one the... it's not quite cyan, is it? This must be the glacial terrain? No, it must be... oh, I feel like Alice Blue is a little bit different than this. Alice Blue terrain. Okay, it was Alice Blue after all. Man, I hemmed and hawed on that one. I was almost certain it was a different color. And of course, down here in the bottom right, we have Aoud 64 as our pumpkin terrain. Ever the pumpkin man. I wonder why he picks pumpkin. Maybe I'll ask him about that the next time I get him on an interview here. So for those who missed the tournament, and also for those interested in disclaimers and context, this series was actually played on the 12th of December, so this is before HitEmUp's elimination series against the Shambler, which took place a day or two ago. Yeah, I guess it was 2 days ago. And then yesterday, Aoud 64 was victorious against Top Ramen in a 3-1 series. HitEmUp bypassing the Shambler 3-0, 3-0. Both players going to be opening mech this time around, but if this series shows a little bit of Aoud 64's TVT tactics, we're going to see him go Talos pretty soon. And you know what? I agree. Gotta ask Dog for some advice now and then. The quarry coming online here very early on for Aoud 64 is not exactly unheard of or unexpected, but HitEmUp has also done his quarry openers in the past. And unlike what Top Ramen has done with the One Folk Expand, and what Aoud has done with the One Folk into Quarry, we're seeing HitEmUp just go straight into Two Folk. Just make units. That's the HitEmUp way. Talos already online. So for those who are not interested or not available, not aware of Cosmonarchy, they're just getting into it now. Let me just tell you guys that the Talos out of the Quarry add-on is an advanced worker. It flies, it does not attack, it repairs faster than Masons, which used to be called SCVs, and it can construct buildings. But most importantly, it harvests resources at a faster rate because of its movement speed. So its effective resource harvesting is actually going to be of a higher yield. As you can see here on our screen, we've got perfect saturation with one Talos and one Mason. Well, maybe not quite perfect, because the Mason takes a little bit of time to get there. With two Taloses, however, it is going to be 100% perfect saturation. HitEmUp's Vulture is going to get caught by a lobotomy mine from Aoud 64, so that will be the end of his scouting reign. However, he has laid a nice little segment of lobotomy mines himself, got great coverage for countering any push into his base. Now, with the scrapyard add-ons for both players, we are going to see some blackjacks enter the fray. It looks like actually we already have one out for Aoud. This unit takes, if it's reduced to half HP or below, it will suddenly be moving slower and attacking slower, but up until that point, it has really strong stats as a fighting unit for Tier 1. So the optimum idea is that you can try to use splash damage to reduce their efficacy, making them a much worse unit statistically once they drop below that half HP. And crucially, if you are playing with the Blackjack, you want to go for some kind of healing and use that option to get yourself a bit of a insurance policy against splash damage. One of HitEmUp's advanced workers, as he has gone for the quarry himself, is going to be coming in here for a scout. You can see how fast the Talos is. Of course, it will get shot out of the sky, courtesy of the Blackjacks. With that being said, you know, I'm looking at this and I'm seeing the expansion timing. It's coming online a bit faster for Aoud 64. He'll be floating it to his natural, whereas HitEmUp has used his minefield here to cover his deployment of his own on location. And this is what I was talking about with the healing. Aoud 64 dropping a single stockade. Usually that means, with the mech play, that the Terran player will be going for a Vestry add-on. And it looks like Aoud wants to clear out his own minefield here. Nothing too significant. I suppose just making sure he doesn't get self-stunned. But yes, the Vestry add-on will give you healers. The Shaman, which mass heals, and the Cleric, which is the medic single heal. That is the two units available from the stockade there. We'll most likely see Shamans. Second Fulcrum is here, but so too is the Ministry, and that's going to be another scrapyard. Aoud usually postures away from going for the new siege tank, the Phalanx. usually he goes away from that, and also the Madrigal, the other unit available for it. So kind of interesting that he's elected to do stuff like that, and stick to just going for blackjacks as the chaff, if you will. He's actually going to be breaking the Biotic Bastions, so these are actually here to help assist walls, but versus, with TVT, you're not necessarily going to need a wall. Instead, you just want to have the maximum surface area for you to exit your choke. So it makes sense that Aoud would want to break that down. Quarry nearly complete at HitEmUp's natural, and the Palladium already on the way for him, so he will be flexing into the Phalanx. Second Stockade, probably not for a Vestry. This Stockade is probably for a Covenant. He's probably going to be dropping the Eidolons in play, and a Star Pad for Ancials. Those are detection units as well as defensive units, believe it or not. So we'll definitely see their behaviors en route. The Blackjack's already setting up a nice concave here. I really like this positioning from Aoud. You can kind of see something similar on the other side, a mirror match indeed. But HitEmUp going for the fast quarry on the second base, that's something that Aoud has not gone for. So even though HitEmUp is down in worker count, that should shift into his favor over enough time. And if he tries to get another base using the Taluses to construct it remotely, that could also help out. Sort of what I was predicting came to pass here, the Covenant add-ons for the Eidolons, formerly Ghosts. Yes, you do make the Eidolon, the Ghost, in TVT. It is a very good unit. And so we are definitely going to see that happen. A Talos, no, this is actually an Ancial. Moving up here to scout out what's happening with HitEmUp's base, sees the Palladium and knows that the Phalanx will indeed be a portion of this. So when you detect production structure in Cosmonarchy, you can actually see the unit inside the queue and how far along they are. So if Aoud decided to click on that unit to see what it was, he would have been aware that it specifically is the Phalanx. You can kind of guess that because the Machine Shop Palladium here animating means that it's building a unit that the add-on is required for. So the Scrapyard enables the Blackjack and the Palladium enables the Phalanx, right? So when you see that, there's only one other unit they could be making, much the same as when the Covenant and the Vestry are making, they're blinking and indicating, that's another tell that's what you're going up against. So pretty cool little visual there. A couple of stockades being added. Looks like those will be for Hurricans, because you also make Firebat equivalents in TVT. But the Blackjacks are coming out here in droves, and the one Phalanx is going to be pretty useful, but I do feel like right now Aoud has the superior Blackjack count, and he also has a couple of the Eidolons out. So that will absolutely pop the Phalanx and the army that HitEmUp has. He's still going to try to push out. He knows that Aoud is most likely navigating towards that top half of the map, so if he can pull his army back by doing a surprise double entry here, yep, he is going in for it, and he's even entrenching his Phalanx pretty far back so that he can get some pot shots out. That one Hurricane not going to be long for this world. Aoud going to have to mass up, and now the Blackjacks are loose in his mineral line. Good damage here for HitEmUp, who is already up in workers anyway. Looks like he's not going to get too many frags with that Phalanx after all. But, if he could steal away a couple of Shamans here, indeed, he picks one of them off. Maybe could have focused on the Ministry as well, it's hard to say. But nonetheless, manages to kill quite a few workers, delay mining time, and immediately short-circuit the move from Aoud 64 to try to move out on the map with his army. Nice punish there. That's a HitEmUp gamer moment. And speaking of mass star pad switch, he's going 5 star pad. This will definitely be a Wraith bust. So he's going to be trying to defeat his opponent with mass Wraiths. At least that's going to be a key component to the next HitEmUp attack. He's now entrenched behind his Ministry. This is an area where you want to maybe use the ramp if you can, because it gives you the +2 weapon range. But right now, HitEmUp maybe didn't feel like he could properly entrench that position. And also, it does open you up to backstabs from the left-hand side, which is where Aoud was originally going, and now indeed where he is going to be going again. Perhaps biasing towards the spoke over here, because once he takes this area, he'll have the cliff advantage. He'll have the high ground. And I love the Ministry on the front line here. In theory, it's a lot of resources to lose if you end up, being slapped around or attacked. But it screws up the targeting so much to have such a tanky structure. Looks like at this point, Aoud 64 nearly complete with his third base, but HitEmUp's has already been online. And it's in a bit of a more defensive angle here. If HitEmUp decides to get aggressive after holding whatever aggression Aoud is going to be throwing at us, that could be very interesting. Again, this is a Ministry with like 750 health or so. It doesn't get canceled, but it occupied the assault so well. And look at those lovely sets of mines getting rid of the Hurricans before they can really do their job. Ant seals are getting focused down right now, but remember that the star pads are in such number that you can remax on them relatively quickly. They are very expensive, but here come the Wraiths to just get right on top of those Eidolons and decloak them. The proximity cloaking not working out too well for HitEmUp there. He is coming up from the south and trying to heckle the Ministry over there, but with the Wraiths loose and the Phalanx within range, you can absolutely see some good value here. HitEmUp maybe making a bit of a mistake targeting down the drop on the low ground instead of maybe trying to unload inside the main base. That could have been very, very good, but instead his Hurricanes end up getting shellacked by the Phalanxes. It looks like he has evacuated those 3 Eidolons. For those wondering, yes, Eidolons can nuke. They can paint nuclear strikes with the Morning Star, which is the new name for the nuke missile. And overall, I would say that that's probably an underutilized aspect of Terran versus Terran, or just Terran play in general. People love to make the Eidolons in the first place, but we aren't really seeing the people actually add on the Morning Star, the Anvil, that sort of stuff. So we'll see. Maybe it'll show up here, because Eidolons are, in TVT specifically, when you don't get a dominating win with the early game, things could get very, very tricksy. Wraith's just moving around, seeing what's going on. The static defenses are being assembled. Until then, a couple of units are indeed postulating. Okay, so I like this situation for both players, really. I don't actually think one player is super far ahead despite the worker count differential. HitEmUp does have a lot of bases, though, and that Ministry completing off to the side can be used to further enunciate his worker advantage. We'll see if he ever ends up actually saturating another base, however, as the Ministry in the top left is indeed going to be being constructed on site by a Talos. Looks like another base may be being taken here by HitEmUp. What are we looking at for tech? I was wondering if the Atlas was coming down at any point. That's a tier 2 tech structure. It doesn't look like either player has it just yet. This base in the top left will almost certainly have to be canceled. HitEmUp letting it buy some time before doing so, or maybe just, yeah, he's not interested. He's like, yeah, whatever. I'm just going to add 1 million more fulcrums. Okay, making 7 more fulcrums to add on to what he's already got. His Wraith Horde has amassed and is starting to wipe this area clean. Are there any Cyprians in the mix? That's splash damage. Oh, the Trojan goes down. If it had a drop in it, it's dead now. And now it looks like instead HitEmUp is going to try to break the position here. So many Wraiths being made, 7 a pop every rotation. Blackjacks to guard the Phalanxes from those Hurricanes charging onto them. More than enough. Nice little drop over here. No Wraiths available to, sort up over in that position. And now the Ant Seal's shielding the Wraiths from damage. Going to be very effective at this position here. But is he going to over-index on that response? Because he's already lost a lot of his units up here. The Blackjacks, the Eidolons, and of course that one Hurricane roasting so many Masons. Now, HitEmUp is still down in workers by a considerable degree, but he's adding chaos to the mix, even charging at these Phalanxes. That's going to be it for most of them. 5 Eidolons still gunning down so many Vultures, but they eventually take a little bit of a flight too close to the sun. The ones in the south getting cleared out as well. More units clearing the deck. It's over for HitEmUp's aggression. Has he done enough? Canceled the top left, well, destroyed the top left with no cancel. Mass Fulcrum is the answer from HitEmUp. No add-ons on any of them, so he's pumping out Cyclops, he's adding more Wraiths, and he is assembling a very potent squad. Let's see what he can do. Still no splash damage for HitEmUp, despite the power of these Wraiths. He's up to 18 of them. Feels like maybe his Eidolons, his Blackjacks can do enough, but he did just trade 1 Wraith for 2 Eidolons and a Hurricane. Very expensive loss. Those units are pretty pricey. Atlas now coming down here for HitEmUp, though, as 10 Cyclops per rotation are being made. HitEmUp, he's reprising his role as the Tyrant, because that is exactly what you might want to do on Tyrant's Tails patch. This base has been allowed to be erected relatively safely, without too many concerns. You see more Watchdogs going down because of the Wraith Menace. Worried about that map control that HitEmUp's able to get, but now he's scouted the army, kind of balling up over here. Good position for the Phalanx. Is going to force HitEmUp back lest he be shellacked by that artillery. It doesn't look like HitEmUp wants to continue down that route, recognizing the reinforced position. He's distance mining with a full saturation on the the 4th base there, and he's going to lift this Ministry and move it up to top left. Okay, so what I'm seeing so far is a horde of tier 1 units, and AUD 64, his Atlas is nearly complete. It does look like this base is about to get wiped. I don't think that AUD will be able to do much from this position. This many Cyclops shells, I'd be really scared for the friendly fire. Oh, so many Wraiths went down, but you know what? It's okay. It's all right. The Atlas down now. Some Mavericks end up getting dropped out over here. Nice stims. Going to go ahead and increase the DPS. The Wraiths are going to clear here. See what they can do. They're kind of rallied over, so a lot of them do end up going down at first, but it's going to get cleared up. It's fine. Not so many Masons even ended up dying. AUD kind of posturing with his army in the middle of nowhere. We are seeing a pretty crazy looking game here. Anseal's diving forward. The Cyclops shell's really doing a number on those Wraiths, man. I tell you. Still, there's this pre-existing force up here in the 4th base that, to me, I'm thinking, you know, I don't think you can attack 2 o'clock here from AUD 64's POV. I feel like you got to think about what you're going to do with your tech advantage, and you don't want to throw away all your tier 1 units until then, but he's going to try to break it. Instead of trying to defend it either, HitEmUp is just going to clear out the rallies with all of his Cyclops and Phalanx, while the Wraiths and a bunch of Cyclops clear the deck over here. Oh yeah, that's going to be a worker massacre. So they're trading bases over here. They're 4ths in exchange. Somehow this force ended up breaking through. Maybe not enough Cyclops, not enough Blackjacks to clear the deck there. But this Ministry is going to be absolutely shellacked. Again, the splash damage from the Cyclops, it is breaking down a lot of HitEmUp's forces. He even balls up on him afterwards. That's dangerous. And I feel like now AUD can sort of pull the noose up right over here. It at least clears out of the ground army and maybe 1 or 2 more Wraiths. Do we have any healing for HitEmUp? No, he's just he's just got 17 fulcrums or whatever, and you know, just a ridiculous amount. He has added on more palladiums as well, so he's up to 10 fulcrums and 7 star pads. His tier 2 is halfway complete. We'll see what he ends up making with those. Recognizing he can't win the day with just pure tier 1. Shamans are out in force for AUD 64, but with the detection of the Anseals, even though they aren't there to protect the bubble of the ground units, and the Wraiths have mostly fallen as a result, we are still seeing a pretty big wipe in favor of HitEmUp, forgetting the fact, of course, that he's up by 40 workers. Still, they're at the actually similar base counts. I mean, he's got a reset bottom left. He never actually saturated the 4 o'clock base, so that's a little bit of a whiff from AUD, but still, it's not as dire as it looks. The fact that there's no gas harvesting over here, and now this base is under harassment, it's going to get from bad to worse. He's definitely behind for a good amount of time, but he has the tech advantage for now. He just doesn't have the economy to really actuate it. He made so many mantles, but he's only making 1 cataphract out of them. Heavy artillery, armor style stuff, so we'll see what he can make happen there. Phalanx is just, again, absolutely splattering so many of the ground units getting stacked up there. Oh, even some nice lobotomy mines there as well. Going to make this a little bit harder. Now, they do end up getting cleared. And in the meanwhile, bottom left had to get canceled. You can tell it's canceled because of the rubble. The rubble is small if it's canceled, large if it's not. HitEmUp just going to go ahead and secure this position with a whole host of extra phalanxes and mixed units. Meanwhile, reinforcements raining on in. Vulture Wraith. Not a composition I'd expect to see anytime soon, but it seems to be enough for now. The 1 cataphract of AUD 64 is going to be whittling down that phalanx, and I'm not so sure it's going to be enough for HitEmUp to actually reinforce that position. He pulls back with some of his units, but he's once again cleared out the 4 o'clock, and AUD is down to depleted minerals in the main, soon to be depleted in the natural, and it does feel to me like just with that alone, HitEmUp is going to feel pretty damn good about his position. He's reset top left and fully saturated it. He's maybe thinking about taking the... Oh man, what would be the counter to 2? I guess it's 10, right? He's taking 10 o'clock right now, as we speak. I've been told Genesis Y almost guarantees his tier 3 in TVT. We'll see if HitEmUp is powerful enough to deal with that. He's still got 1 Wraith heckling that position at 4. Many more cataphracts emerging for both players, as HitEmUp has constructed 5 mantles with his tier 2 tech. Continuing to heckle that ministry. Now here comes the push up the ramp. Remember, the cliff advantage going to favor HitEmUp as AUD struggles to get up here. Yet despite that, I mean, the mines didn't come down quite fast enough. There was no mobile detection here for AUD 64. Here comes the workers. Going to go ahead and move over, abandoning this position and instead going towards 10 o'clock as the ministry is brought down. But so many more phalanxes are still alive. Blackjack Cyclops just doing its best. to spread out that damage and tank for the Phalanxes. In the back line, we've got plenty more where that came from as Aoud, his forces are getting whittled down piece by the Phalanx mortars. Now, the Cataphracts are still in tow. I'm looking at them and thinking, yeah, they're still going to be pretty damn good. They are going to help Aoud clear this position. Cataphracts, Vultures coming out for HitEmUp. So at this point, I mean, I feel like Aoud's lost too much. The reinforcements of HitEmUp will be able to overwhelm almost certainly. You can see how good the Cataphracts actually are at clearing out the chaff and the fodder. But Cataphract versus Cataphract, I mean, it's a numbers game, and HitEmUp just has more numbers. He might even be able to kill some of these units with Masons alone, but he's not going to take that chance right now, instead focusing on pulling out the Durandals, the Cyclops, etc. Oh yeah, roast up those Eidolons, dude. There is almost no hope for that. This Wraith's still almost clearing out that Ministry. Will Aoud actually lose that base to a single Wraith? It's already starting to burn as well. Some of the Durandals getting a little bit caught, trying to clear out the Achmeds over there. It's Achmed versus Achmech as the Durandals roast that Cataphract, rending its armor. Oh, we got to see it. Achmed on Achmed violence. I think it was the Shambler who said that Harakans beat Durandals. I don't know about that, but hey, I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to find out if it actually works out that way. There you go. Ah, 2 Mavericks have arrived to clear this place out. The Wraith won't even clear a single one of them. Maverick DPS too strong. But here comes some Vultures and a Cyclops to finish the job. Don't think you're going to be able to protect the base versus that. He could repair it. He is making a Mason. He made a Mason. Yeah, he is going to repair it. It's not going to be enough. His force is scrambling over to see what they can do. Well, at the same time, confirming bottom left is no longer there. The Mason gets pushed away. You know, actually, HitEmUp hasn't really gone after the Ministry, so maybe it will end up being repaired. He's just kind of left his units to idle there. Absolutely could have killed it, but it's okay. HitEmUp is busy making units. He's down to making Ramses. They are pretty slow, but they pack a huge punch. And of course, Cyclops. We love to see it. Oh my god. Repair the Ministry. Aoud, repair the Ministry. No, it's sub 100 health. He's going to build all these Sentinels, and then it's going to blow up. He'll protect his empire of nothing. Trying to retake bottom left, meanwhile. Dude, don't tell me that. I'm going to just keep it selected. If the HP starts to raise, so too will our spirits. I think this game's been over for a little bit. It's certainly trending towards Aoud 64, but this would just be a magical moment. Cataphracts on the high ground. Name a more dynamic, iconic duo. Apparently, Aoud 64 losing a Ministry to burn damage. He's managed to crack the position with way more resources invested into it. That was very cost efficient for HitEmUp. We're seeing him scramble over here. The Sentinels are indeed going to protect that empire of nothing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, kaboom! He never repaired it! Oh my god! Well, I guess they trade bases. Honestly, that's brilliant. I'm so glad that I saw that. Many, many Anseals on the way for HitEmUp, spending down his gas bank a little bit as he reestablishes his initial third base location. Top left now once again in danger as Aoud trying to mass up his forces over here. Cataphracts and Ramses really helping to get rid of those Anseals. The Ramses in particular do deal that line trace damage. They're very, very good for splashing through lightly armored targets. Looking pretty good here for Aoud 64 as he's trying to whittle down this force using the one Shaman that never got focused. Here comes some Phalanxes to turn the screws, and now a bunch of Cyclops are going to raid the third base mineral line. It looks like before Aoud 64 has the wherewithal to react. Yeah, so many of those workers going down, and each worker for Aoud might as well be worth 2 for HitEmUp because HitEmUp has so many more. That might not seem like a lot, but that hurts. That very much hurts. The Cataphracts stomping along. Ambient sounds for them stomping when? Wink. Aoud going to confirm nothing at 2 o'clock. However, 10 is being retaken. HitEmUp still not able to turn the screws and finish the game quite yet, but the Durandal is going to spot out this army. It will end up getting focused down pretty quick, but that's going to be more than enough for HitEmUp to respond by pulling back with the Cyclops and considering his next move. The Hurricanes rending the armor are going to allow this Ministry to potentially be focused down, but I still feel like HitEmUp can just defeat him. I mean, he's got way more units, and you can see Aoud out of money at this point. His rally's dismal. Only a few cataphracts here, but there's that many, and the phalanx is going to really heavily focus down the cataphracts of Aoud. And indeed, his treasury will be peppered down. Cyclops, Ramses, Wraiths, that's going to be the name of the defense game here for HitEmUp, and I don't think Aoud has what it takes to break him here. Too many units on the other side, and now the Eidolon's getting decloaked by incoming Wraiths. It's a total massacre. Meanwhile, the rally point just getting chewed up by HitEmUp's offensive garrison. And as these cataphracts fall, I think it's going to be just enough for Aoud to realize, damn, my cataphract would have won that fight, but I gotta say GG anyway. Okay, well, that was a very bloody game, and certainly a very interesting TVT in that sense. I would say overall, I'm pleased to see HitEmUp take a game, obviously, but also Aoud to get a little bit ahead there. Our next game will be Protoss versus Terran, based on Aoud's description. Let's see if Aoud can beat the Tyrant in what I would say is probably his best matchup. Join us tomorrow for that.